Hey, y'all.
Hola, welcome to 30 Minutes Down South. She's Allison.
And he's Carlos, and we are two top producing realtors.
With two extremely different Southern upbringings.
Join us each week as we explore the Lake Murray area with our special guests.
And welcome, Allison, to another episode of 30 Minutes Down South.
Hello, Carlos.
I'm trying to make it more...
I think you're just excited because we were talking about your favorite subject. Yeah, I cannot talk today.
My favorite subject, which is?
Baseball.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who are we talking to?
So we are talking to Jenn von Ahn. Mm-hmm. Did I say that correctly? Mm-hmm. Of Irmo Little League. And I'm excited to hear what she says.
You know, I'm so excited. Let's just do a quick intro and just play it.
Let's do it.
Go ahead. And welcome, Jenn von Ahn, to 30 Minutes Down South. How are you today, Jenn?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Excellent.
We are good. Thanks so much for coming on with us today. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me first off. My name is Jenn von Ahn. We are from Chapin, South Carolina. I'm a product of Chapin High School and then went to Atlanta to study at Georgia Tech. I have a bachelor's and master's of architecture from Georgia Tech. Worked in Atlanta for a couple years along with school, where I met my husband, Pete. We worked at the same architecture firm. And then when we started our family, we decided to come back to Chapin, where my family is still here. I had my parents and my brother and his family with their 5 kids. And we decided to set up our roots here to raise our kids. We started our own architecture firm in 2006, Von Ahn Design. We do residential architecture, so we do renovations, additions, new construction. We do all the design and drawings for that. And we have 4 children, 4 boys. They're 13 to 20. We've got 2 that are in college and a junior in high school. And then our youngest is finishing up 7th grade at Chapin Middle School.
That's awesome, Jenn. And one of the reasons that we brought you here, you know, obviously to get to know you better, but it's because all the work that you guys have been doing with the Irmo Little League. Why don't you tell us a little bit, what do you do with Irmo Little League and how did you start it?
Sure. Irmo Little League is our family's second home, basically. We joined the league, well, our oldest was 8, so 12, 13 years ago, we joined the league. We were playing at Crooked Creek, and we just, they've all loved baseball. They watched from the time they could pay attention to a baseball game. The older ones, they would follow along. And we switched to Little League for that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to possibly play at the Little League World Series that they grew watching on TV. So we started out playing there. It was probably 2012 or 2013 was our first season, and we haven't left. After the first year, I joined the board. It's all volunteer, so everyone that is part of the board down at Irmo Little League are all volunteers. And I started out as the junior coach pitch officer, which is one of our youngest divisions, the little 5 and 6-year-olds. And after that, I wanted to try and give more to the league. And so I joined the executive board, and I've been the vice president of the league since 2015, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, but we just, all 4 of our boys have grown up playing on those fields. They continue to come back. Our oldest 2 in college, they'll umpire when they're home. They coach. They just love being out there as much as we do. And so it truly for us is a second home for us. I mean, we just love being part of that community down there and helping to provide an opportunity for kids to play baseball and softball.
I've heard excellent things about it. What do you think makes that league special?
For one, I think it's the people that are invested in the league. We have a lot of families who, with multiple kids also, who have kind of gone through it for many years, and they've all wanted to work together to make it not only a recreational league for everyone to participate, but it's a competitive one. Especially these days with travel ball and everything that has kind of developed as far as how youth baseball and softball has progressed. We've been able to provide a competitive environment for kids to still get better, and work on their skills. But there is also such a huge community of people there that are just wanting to be part of something more than them. They want to be part of that large community. We have probably, this season was our largest season yet, where we have almost 800 kids registered to play for this spring, ages 4 to 16 in baseball and softball. And so that pretty much makes up any kid that's in Lexington, Richland 5 in school. You go and survey them, and I will say 95% of those kids, if they play baseball or softball, they're at Irmo Little League. And so these kids just have a great time coming to the field, seeing their friends from school, playing against each other in school, so that then the next day they can talk about it with each other. And it's just it really is a unique place, and to go down there and just experience it all for a night and have, friends, family, grandparents, relatives, and, people who had kids who played there before coming back to watch. There's just an ongoing sense of pride and community in little old Friars Gate Park down there in Irmo. So
that's what I was thinking. With the amount of kids y'all have now, I mean, have you had to expand fields and area, or how are y'all working that?
Yeah, we are maxed out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Friars Gate is not that big.
No, it's not. It's not. And we have four. So we have four main fields, and then we have two smaller fields. And then we just have been working to get, there is a field that's kind of behind the park that's part of H.E. Corley. And so this past spring, we've gone to the school district, and we put in the money, all the volunteers, we fixed up the field because it had kind of been in disarray the last few years. And so we have gotten approval from the school board now to be able to use that field as well. So there is not an open field on any night during the season. There are games going on every night, Monday through Friday. This weekend, this season, we started doing games again on Saturday mornings for some of our younger age groups, which is how it used to be years ago. We would play all day Saturday, all ages. And so it kind of gave people a chance somewhere to go on the weekends as well. So we are maxed out, but we are making every effort we can to give as many kids as interested in playing the opportunity to play each season.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I want to say that probably the couple of the reasons why you are maxed out is one, the facilities at the organization that you guys have been able to manage and have been able to maintain. Justun Baxter is the president of Irmo Little League. He's always there fixing up the fields. He's always having other parents helping. That it really is like when you see it from afar, you really see the hard work that you guys put in there together, and it's just commendable. It really is.
Yeah.
It is a community, and so that helps when everybody comes in and watches the fields and come. That makes you want to be part of that group. But there is also another thing. You guys have had a lot of success in the last couple years with sending teams to the World Series, and those are being now streamed by ESPN, so we can see our local boys defending the Irmo Little League shirt and representing the Southeast in a national stage. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we are. I mean, we are first and foremost a recreational league where anyone can play, whether you've never played before, whether you've played your whole life. I mean, there is no tryout process to sign up to play at Irmo Little League for the season. We will take brand new players, and they have learned tremendously. And we've had kids who've played on, the older kids who've played on, national showcase teams who come and play the regular season. So it is a wide variety of skills. In the summer, we do form all-star teams, which are more competitive. And they do have the opportunity. We just start up at the end of this month. We'll host our first all-star tournament for our coach pitch ages. Their district tournament is going to be held at Friars Gate Park. And so that'll start our all-star season. And so the teams will progress through district and then state tournaments. If they win the state tournament, they go on to the Southeast Regional Tournament, where we've had much success. 2 years ago, we had our first ever World Series team when our junior softball girls won the Southeast Regional and went out to Seattle, Washington to compete in the Junior League Softball World Series. They finished up the World Series runner-up. They
Nice.
were one game short of winning the whole World Series, and so that was very exciting to have one of our teams actually make it that far. And then this past summer, we were very fortunate because we had our senior league baseball team, which is ages 13 to 16. So it's high school players. They won the Southeast Regional Tournament in Safety Harbor, Florida. That was their third time that we've had a senior league team down in the Southeast Regional Tournament. They were runners up one year. In 2019, we were runners up. And then we were there in 22, and then in 23, they won it to advance to the Senior League World Series, which is actually held in Easley, South Carolina, so just up the road from us. And then a week later, after the senior boys won, our Junior League boys baseball won their Southeast Regional Tournament in North Carolina, where they went on to play in the Junior League World Series up in Taylors, Michigan. And they finished as the U.S. runner-up for that World Series. So it was very exciting. It was fun to be able to see the kids that I personally have seen grow up on these fields since we've been there for so long, achieve a goal that so many of them had. And personally, one of my sons was on the senior league team, and my husband and my oldest son, they coached that team. And so to be able to experience up in Easley, not only them achieving a dream that they had set for themselves as when we started Little League, but also the support, because it was close, that we could have such a huge community travel up and watch the game, and just looking out and seeing all the people on the crowd on our side wearing either an Irmo Little League shirt or a Southeast shirt, which is the team that they wore, and cheering for these, 15 boys. It was just, I mean, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. It was just such a great thing to be able to be part of and to experience, not only as a member of the league and as serving as a representative of the league, but as a parent being able to see the support that they brought to all those kids up there too.
That's so cool. And I love that y'all have had that success along with being so inclusive to those kids who don't have the experience, that,
Oh, yes.
that you're bringing in kids from all different walks of life and experiences, giving them an opportunity. And it sounds like y'all have a really, really great community. And if you've stuck it out this long.
Yeah, we do. There's actually a cute story. So our seniors division has just skyrocketed over the last few years since 2019. It used to not be offered at Irmo Little League, actually until our oldest had aged out at 12. That's the typical age out of Little League when people stop playing. And he and his friends still wanted to play. So we're like, okay, we'll start it up. And so we started the first year with like 2 teams. So that was 2017, I guess. It was 2016 was 2 teams. And this season we have 134 kids playing for that senior season. And those are kids who are 13 to 16 years old. A lot of these kids played school ball. And before they start on their summer teams, they play a quick 5-week season. And it's just a big social league for them. They come, they can decompress from finishing school before they get into their serious travel ball teams and stuff like that. But we've also have kids who are 15 and 16 who've never played before and have come to play. And one of the proudest things I find of that division is that we had a young man who came to play. He'd never played before. And the older boys who had played recognized he hadn't played before. And so when he would come up to bat, they would pitch softer to him so that he would get a hit. And when they get a hit, they all cheer for him. I mean, we're talking kids some of these kids have gone on to play college ball, are treating this kid who had never played before like he was a superstar. Nice. And he had the best time. And then when he would see them out or whatever, we heard him one time telling his parents, "Oh, those are my teammates," or whatnot. And so the fact that we're being able to provide that as a league for all these kids, but that we're also teaching these young men and women how to treat others and to include them as well, even, they're seeing their maturity as they grow through this program is just very rewarding as well.
It is. I just can't imagine. Now, Jenn, difficult question for you. I know your youngest son is in 7th grade, right? So he will be playing probably for the next 4 or 5 years in Irmo Little League until he finishes school.
Yes, he'll have 3 more years.
3 more years? Okay. So do you have somebody that will take over? Have you been grooming or not grooming, but, How you call
Training.
it? Yes, exactly. Or somebody to take over
Um,
because.
yeah, I we'll see. I mean, it's again, it's volunteer, so you
Mm-hmm.
have to have someone who wants to put in the time, and I hope that when the time comes that I decide that it's time for me to step back, that there's someone who's willing to give that same passion or put into the league because it is a special place. It does require a lot of additional time, and effort. But I hope it'll be someone they can get as much out of it as they put into it as my family has over the years. Um, if I decide, when I decide to step down, we wouldn't be stepping completely away. We'll always be involved in some form in Irmo Little League. I hope when our boys are older, if they're living here, obviously their kids will play there too.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes, yes. Of course.
Come
so
full
I'm sure
circle.
yeah, we'll still be around. So it just, it there's a lot of great people down there at the league, and it just takes a lot of people who are unsure that they probably can do this stuff, but it's not hard. It's more of a willingness and a wanting to serve, and that's all that's what's required. You got to have that willingness to serve in order to keep what has been built for the last 30 years going.
Yeah.
So, Jenn, you've been there a while. What are some of the changes and challenges that you are seeing now that maybe y'all didn't have 7, 10 years ago?
I would say it's kind of funny. Our biggest challenge that we have regularly is on our softball side. On the baseball side, there has always been a kind of understanding and a willingness for kids who play travel ball as well that they still want to play Irmo Little League, and the teams will work around. They kind of as part of their ideas for the team. We're still going to play rec ball. You can play with your friends. It doesn't interfere with you playing travel ball. Softball, we have a harder issue with it. For whatever reason, on the travel ball side of softball, they do not allow or do not encourage the girls to play rec ball at the same time. So we lose a lot of girls each season to travel ball. They might have started at Irmo Little League, and then if they want to try and play travel ball and play more often, then it pulls out. So on the softball side, we're constantly trying to rebuild and get more girls interested. And I think it can cause some friction with people because we have so many kids playing baseball so many more kids playing baseball compared to softball, that we get a lot of comments that baseball shows more favoritism over softball, but it's not the case. It's just that we lose a lot from softball each year, and we're trying to keep those girls in there and keep growing it. But, we need the families in softball to all help in and help encourage them to stay and play in the league. The other big challenges is with everything is, since we are all volunteers, is just always having enough volunteers. I think a common misconception of people when they come down to the park, because of everything that the volunteers have done for the last 30 years, they think it's a business, and it's
Yeah.
not. I mean, it is 100% volunteer. There are no employees. It is Richland County property, so the county does come in and do some work, but it's nowhere near what the volunteers do. They come and empty the trash, and they will come and cut the grass outside the fields. But everything inside the fields, dragging, maintaining, keeping them up to date for each game, lining, keep picking up trash on a nightly basis. Everything else is done by volunteers. I mean, as Carlos said, Justun, our president, he comes over at lunch pretty much every day during his lunch hour and drags the fields to get them ready for games that night. And so I think a common misconception, especially people who are new in the league, is that we are a business, and we're not. We rely on everyone to try and pitch in to help create this community, and that's what we've always tried to convey to people, and always willing to have people come in and help. But it does take a large crew, and at times it's all done by a few sets of hands. So
And and budget wise too, right? Because and you're right. People get that misconception. You walk in and everything looks so good that you can't fathom that this cannot be just volunteers. This cannot just be donations. But you're not, right? It's just that right people doing the right for it. Where do you get them?
Exactly.
Where do you get the money for expenses?
The revenue comes from the registration fees for the season. And then sponsorships. We had our sponsorship officer actually this year, Jonathan Todd. He did a phenomenal job of sponsorships. I mean, he went out and he was hitting up businesses left and right to try and get donations for the league. And I want to say he took in over $30,000 this year.
Nice.
In sponsorships of either through monetary or exchange of goods or something. And that, other than that, during the season, the concession stand. I mean, when we have hot food, we grill hamburgers, hot dogs, and stuff each night. So we use that to help offset costs of equipment that might be needed during the season. But that's it. It's just our registration and sponsorships that we get during the summer. We will host some of the district and state all-star tournaments. They're kind of given to different leagues around the state to host. And so the concession money that comes in on those weekends, we are allowed to keep as a league, but we are also using equipment. We have to run the concession stand. We have to take care of the fields during those tournaments as well. And then we've had to use some of the money for umpires, because unfortunately umpiring is not something a lot of people want to do. We used to be the only league in this, well, we still are, because we still do have volunteer umpires, but as of the last year or so, we were the only Little League in the state that still even had volunteer umpires, which is what Little League International encourages. But it's hard to get people to volunteer to umpire, especially, as you said earlier, with parents, how they can be sometimes. That's a struggle we have every season. So we have had to start paying some umpires to make sure games have umpires, where some of our funds ends up going each season.
Umpire a baseball game is one of the toughest. Actually, it's the toughest thing on the whole thing happening in the field, because if you do your job right, nobody's gonna pat you in the back. Nobody's gonna say, "Wow, what a great umpire! Amazing call." You're expected to be flawless in a game that is by nature designed to fail. And if you do fail, man, they're going to hit it.
And they're going to let you know.
Yes. Yes. And it'd be actually fun. I think we'd have more umpires if we could just have them umpire the game with no parents around. Yeah. I think it'd be great.
We'd
have a long list of umpires.
Well, if we can use this platform to just ask parents just to be better, like the game is very hard by itself. Being an umpire is very difficult. It's a very difficult job. You got to make decisions in a fraction of a second, and you better get it right the first time. And like I said, it's a rewardless job.
It is, and at the end of the day, I think what so many parents lose sight of with all the sports these days is that it's about the kids.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be fun. And I think many times the kids aren't nearly as upset as the parents are.
And you ask most of those kids, they don't even know the score of the game. So that's a funny thing, because one thing that we do at the league is we have snack tickets. At the end of the game, instead of a parent bringing a snack or whatever, the teams can buy snack tickets that the kids can go up to the concession stand and get 2 items, drink and cookies or something, ice cream, whatever, and for their snack after the game. And you have more kids, especially the younger ones and stuff, who will not know the score of the game, but they will know that they're getting that snack ticket, and they will look for their snack ticket. And when we first started up seniors, our first group of like 15 and 16-year-olds, most of these boys had played all growing up through the league. And a number of them turned to me and they all said, "Miss Jenn, do we still get snack tickets?" I mean, they all drove themselves to the field. They could have easily gone to a gas station and got them something, but the snack ticket is an Irmo Little League specialty, and they all look forward to it. And that's the fun, is seeing the kids still wanting to be down there and hanging out. And seeing that kid, I mean, it just happened the other night in one of the playoff games in our majors division. So it's 10, 11-year-olds. And the game ended because the kid in right field made his first catch ever during the season.
God, that's so
he
cool.
was so excited. And so one side, was disappointed that they lost. And the other side was super excited that they won. But then that kid he had the biggest smile on his face, because it was the first ball he caught all season, and it ended the game. And that's what, everyone's going to get caught up in, whether they want, win or lose, if there was a bad call or something. But when you see a kid smile like that, that's what makes it all worthwhile.
And
So,
that is baseball, and that's one of the beautiful thing about this game. One of the things that I love, and you've seen enough baseball to tell. I mean, one fun thing about parents being very intense. How we're gonna use that word? Intensity. Very intense. It kind of like winds down as the kids grow up. Seems like the
yes.
younger the kids are, who they, like you say, they really don't care.
They're just there for the snack.
That's where the
right.
intensity of the parent is at the highest level. And then when they start to realizing, not everybody's gonna hit a double every at bat. Not every
Right.
pitcher is gonna strike out every kid. The game is designed to fail.
Yes.
I mean, you failed 7 out of 10 every time you go to the Bucks. You're hitting 300 for life. You go into the Hall of Fame. 7 out of 10. But
Oh, exactly. It is. And it's as long as they continue. It's funny because my husband Pete, he just said that the other day, that our two oldest played high school ball. I mean, they did showcase ball up and down the East Coast or whatever. And he made the comment that, looking back at those games seemed important and stuff, but they had fun. They love the game. They're both still passionate fans of baseball and watch it, everything. They play it when they can or whatnot. And that's what we try and do down there too, is just to grow a love for this game.
yeah.
You're not all going to go on to be MLB stars. We don't have scouts that come down there and watch these kids at 5 and 6 years old. But if they enjoy their time, and then in turn, when they get older, share that with someone else, then, I feel we've done our part. So.
Are you sure there are no scouts watching 5 and 6 year old? Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of
some
parents
do,
will believe that.
Oh, some think they're up on the T-ball fields. Yeah,
That's right. Well, Jenn, if people want more information about Irmo Little League, where can they look? When are the seasons? What does registration entail?
Sure. Well, our website is irmolittleleague.org. We're on Facebook. We are finished up our spring season, so we will have a fall season. That registration will open in August, and that season runs. It starts after Labor Day and runs usually to the beginning of November, and then we will start again for our spring season. That'll kick off end of January, and it usually runs until end of May.
Awesome. So if you like baseball, with Irmo Little League, between the spring season, the tournament season, and the fall season, it's pretty much 3/4 of the year.
Yes. Yeah, we're down there. We'll have people down at the Friars Gate on the fields, hopefully through beginning of August, because our all-star teams are continuing to win their tournaments and practicing.
Nice. Well, we're
Good luck. I hope
hoping that this
Thank
year we
you.
can send everybody
Take
to
it
the
all
World
the way.
Series. A quick question. Do you know if are we the only league to send 3 teams on 1 year to the World Series?
Well, we sent 2 in 1 year, and as far as I know, I am not. I know in the States,
You got the
girls were
softball
the
too.
year
You got
they were the year before.
softball was the year before.
Oh, yeah. Correct.
Yeah, softball was softball was 22, and then we did the 2 baseball in 23. And to my knowledge, as far as I know, we are the only league to send 2 teams in the same year to a World Series. But before the girls went out into Seattle in softball, there had only been one other league in South Carolina to even go to a World Series.
Nice.
So of any age group.
Well, take that, rest
That
of the
was
world.
exciting.
Irmo Little League for y'all.
So we hope to keep continuing it.
We will. And with people
Absolutely.
like you and all the volunteers that are getting involved, and the kids that they see their friends in ESPN and they want to be there. So they are the one pushing, just so you know, they're the one pushing their parents to write and sign them up for Irmo Little League.
Yeah. I mean, we had boys on the team last year who, that they said that at the end, that was the best 2 weeks of their life. I mean, just not even the playing aspect, but the fact that they got to meet kids from all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, within 10 minutes of the senior boys being at the hotel, because all the teams stay at the same hotel, they had already started up a Snapchat group with every other player on every team who they still talk to.
That is
Snapchat.
awesome.
That's really cool.
That
My
is
son,
awesome.
my son just made a comment a few weeks ago. Oh, so-and-so from Canada just sent this message. I mean, so they truly to have that experience, it was once in a lifetime for them, and they're still, talking with the kids they met for those short week they were together. So
That's so cool. That is priceless. Well, I hope that one day we can take our team and play against Venezuela. That would be a good game. Jenn, thank you so much for your time. Again, thank you for your dedication. I'll be seeing you on the fields.
thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jen. Take care.
Have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye.
All right. So I know you enjoyed that.
Mhm.
And you coach a team
Yeah.
at Irmo Little League, right?
I have. I've been coaching. I've been a volunteer coach for the last couple years, and I've seen firsthand a lot of the backstage work, a lot of the efforts that these people make, and it's encouraging, and I'm pretty sure that there are other communities out there that they do the things and we just don't see it. We just
Right.
don't appreciate it, because like she said, one of the things that I want to take away from that interview, is that people will walk in and see everything working so good and everything in such a great state and everything that is very hard to believe that it's only volunteers. You imagine there is a big corporation behind. Probably the people from Coca-Cola is behind here paying high salaries, because there's no way this field is so clean and in such a good shape that is only volunteers, but it is.
Sounds like they take a lot of pride in the actual league and what they do for the kids.
Yeah. And kids wanting to play in that league, because when Damien started to play baseball, we started to play rec ball at Crooked Creek, right? And it was fine. I mean, like it served the purpose, right? That league serves the purpose. It's very entry level, very, very, very entry level. It's run by our friend Thunderbook, Eric Thunderbook, and in Crooked Creek. And once the kids trying to get something more throughout the year, because also that season in Crooked Creek is only one spring season, and then when they want to play more baseball, they get the feel for it and they want to do more. You start looking for travel baseball teams, right? And then getting into travel baseball team, a big chunk of them, you have to go through tryouts. You have to have at least a knowledge of baseball. There's some that are starting and it will take 1 or 2 kids to start. 3 kids that maybe haven't played. And they'll be on the bench, they'll be hitting last. It's that progression that comes with travel ball.
Right.
So it's like the chicken and the egg, right? Okay, how can you get better if you don't get the reps? How can you know if you can play shortstop if you don't get to play shortstop? But at the end of the day, the important part of that is the practice. And the point that I wanted to make is that when Damien started at Crooked Creek, we moved into a travel team, and we heard about Irmo Little League, and that very first season, we decided not to, because we didn't want to set him back for travel, back to rec ball again, which, now looking hindsight, it's a very big mistake. I would have loved to get him involved since day one.
Yeah.
In there, now that I see it, now that he's been playing in there, he asked for it. He wants to play in it. His friends wants to play in it. Everybody wants to be part of it. She had mentioned.
Sounds like 800 plus kids now? That's crazy.
And she had mentioned, but there's still like 40, 45 kids or more on wait list. Wow. That they just couldn't
incredible.
play. And part of the reason is just because there's just not enough fields, just like you said it. There is one big field where you have to play kids from 13 to 16, that's high school age. And I mean, it's 2 games per day, 1 field. You do the math. You're going to have a limited amount of teams that you can swing. You have a limited amount of players that can be part of the team. So, it is what it is. The first come, first serve. So if you missed this opportunity, if you missed this season,
sign up early in August.
That's the secret. Sign up early. Keep an eye for it, and it's 100% worth it. Oh, besides, on the spring season, they get to play with Major League uniforms. So it's pretty cool. You know which one I had last year? You're not gonna believe it. Freaking Boston Red Sox. out of 30 teams, and I think that Jenn was involved in
She
this.
did it intentionally.
Because every time that they asked me, what team do you want to play? And they gave you 3 options, I only fill out New York Yankees, New York Yankees, New York Yankees. I don't even give option to anybody else. But
They got you.
Yeah, it's
Joke
randomly.
was on you.
Yeah, Jenn, randomly, I got the Boston Red Sox last year. I did the Marlins this year, so that was even better. That was actually better. 30 minutes on the nose.
All
Allison.
right. Yep.
I can talk baseball for
I
another.
know you can.
How about we
We'll
do-
hold off on this subject for a few more months.
How about we do a 1 hour down south when it's baseball, and then we keep it to 30 minutes down south, everybody else? No?
No.
No? You sure? All right, bye.
Bye.